If you have ever watched the American State of the Union speech and thought, wow, how could this get any more boring? Well, fasten your drool cups for the European State of the Union. United States of Europe making fun of the EU the American way. This week is the annual State of the European Union speech, and to hear the newspapers tell it, the State of the European Union is, we're falling apart, the far right is taking over, head for the hills, it's the end of civilization as we know it. Is there anyone who can counteract this negative narrative? Yes, Jean-Claude Juncker. Europe's answer to the question, what would happen if you'd cross George Bush with racist Mickey Rooney? That's our best hope? Yeah. The world knows Juncker, if they know him at all, as that stumbling drunk uncle who sometimes needs to be carried out of a meeting. Although, correction, that was him going into the meeting. And if he's not randomly slapping EU heads of state, he's giving them all a big, sloppy, wet, drunk uncle kiss, which sometimes borders on #MeToo. As frequent Facebook commenter O'Shane Janssen writes, still waiting for the first critical notes for the alcoholic with back problems. Well, I hope that was a bit critical. More critical would be that Juncker is largely responsible for creating the EU's crooked tax haven starting in Luxembourg. He's like Mr. 1%. Meaning he wants the tax rate for the 1% to be about 1%. But also, I have to look at Jean-Claude Juncker as a bit of an Inspector Columbo. I mean, yeah, he looks like a schlub, yet, as Political points out, he's capable of new tricks, as the world learned via his July mini-trade deal with Trump when his old-school charm and deal-making prowess achieved more than the power of German Chancellor Merkel or Emmanuel Macron. Maybe it was Juncker's secret weapon, the sloppy wet kiss. Think about it. And sure, people complain that Juncker was never really elected, which is pretty true. Maybe that's why in last year's speech, Juncker proposed having direct elections for EU president. One EU president, not two like we've got now, which is only handy if you have a hostage situation. Don't shoot, I am the EU president. No, I am the EU president. Shoot him. What we need now are ideas that are bold and inspiring enough to make headlines. Which is why, last year, Juncker suggested the creation of an EU mega president, which would be awesome. But this idea is referred to by The Economist as some of his more outlandish notions. Outlandish notions. Really, Economist? Like allowing a British referendum to come to a vote? Pipe down, Brits! You ain't got a dog in this fight anymore. If anything, we need more outlandish notions, like this year we're expected to hear the outlandish notion of the creation of a European Coast Guard and Border Defense Agency. Politically, that would go a long way to shutting down the far right. In fact, it could be called the NSTFD initiative, which stands for Nazis Sit the Fuck Down. So no, the EU isn't perfect, and no, Jean-Claude Juncker isn't always sober. But can any of us say we haven't sometimes reacted the same way when the beat kicks in? What is the state of the European Union? Well, maybe we didn't get the leader we all wanted, but we did get the leader we deserved.